our guys reaching for in tonight's game. You know, when you see guys out and you see a great opponent like the Nets, you can be a little bit overwhelmed and not sure if you're going to have a chance to win it. But, you want to have a go after these guys mindset. And, we knew coming in that if we were able to prevail shorthanded against this opponent, that it would feel good. And it would be one of the best wins of the year.
They just played with more urgency to start the game, and they hit us in the mouth early, and that we was fighting uphill all game. And then they got hot. You come in the game, guys who haven't played as much get more opportunities and playing free. And they came out and hit us in the mouth. So they're the champs. You got to respect it.
Lakers played their 13th game without LeBron James and Anthony Davis over the last 2 seasons, and Saturday was easily their best performance. It was their largest win in any of those games, and their teamwork was on full display as they finished with 30 assists, their most in any of those 13 games. Help could be on the way for the Lakers very soon. Adrian Wojnarowski joins us now with news on a possible timetable for the return of both LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Woj, what do you have?
Stan, Anthony Davis will be reevaluated on Thursday for that tendon injury that has kept him out. And I'm told to expect then from there, you'll see Anthony Davis start to ramp it up, and he could potentially be back from now the next 10 days to 2 weeks. And LeBron James right now with that high ankle sprain, it looks like about 3 weeks away. So potentially, Stan, Anthony Davis back within 2 weeks, LeBron James in 3 weeks. And the Lakers certainly have a tough stretch of schedule here, but as you said, help is on the way.
They've been tumbling down the Western Conference rankings, but with those two guys back in the lineup, they should solidify their spot. Woj, we appreciate it.
Two teams that could potentially meet in the NBA Finals. And Irving is done for the night. Obviously on a game they need him.
Wow.
A disastrous second half for Brooklyn. A spirited performance from the LA Lakers.
So the Lakers were able to take down the Nets Saturday night. Hey, more good news for LA Lakers fans as well. Guess what? Anthony Davis could return in the next 2 weeks, with LeBron James in line to return a week later. This according to Woj. That means both could be available for the final 9 games of the season in May. As of now, the Lakers are projected to finish as the 5 seed in the West. Time to welcome in Jalen Rose to SportsCenter. And Jalen, as you know, the Lakers are expecting to have LeBron James and Anthony Davis back for the playoffs. LA would be the 5th seed if the postseason started Saturday, so they would be facing tough tests from top seeds. So let's play a little game. Who are you taking in a 7-game series between the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns?
Devin Booker has been terrific along with the addition of Chris Paul. They've been really consistent in the West, 1 or 2. However, I'm taking the Los Angeles Lakers in a 7-game series. Okay, so the Lakers get past Phoenix in your mind? Yes. What about a 7-game series where the Lakers face the Utah Jazz? We got the Jazz. They shoot the 3 at an all-time clip. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. I'm not picking them over LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'm going with the Lakers. Yep, the big boys stepping up in that one again. So, now if the Lakers get past both of those teams, as you predicted, reasonable to think they would be in the NBA Finals, facing the winner of the East. So who do you have winning a final series, the Lakers or whoever comes out of the East? I would say Nets because they have Kevin Durant, but they still have some work to do in the Eastern Conference. Because you saw tonight against Andre Drummond and the Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to struggle guarding against bigs. And Joel Embiid and Giannis are 2 of the best in our game at taking advantage of smaller teams. But again, their big 3 with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, they should be the team that represents the Eastern Conference in the Finals, losing to the Lakers in 6 games. All right, well, that will be an entertaining NBA Finals for sure. And you just made Laker fans very, very happy with back-to-back championships. Jalen Rose, thanks as always.
Quite new to this team. I wondered if the way the team played today and just the mentality and all that, if that tells you something about this group, if you learned something from today's game.
I learned a lot from today's game, that we have a lot of guys in this locker room that are very tough. despite who's on the other side of the court, they're going to come out and play. No matter how many minutes guys play, they're going to play to the best of their ability. And we have fun doing it. We had a lot of fun tonight playing and getting this win.
And then, Andre, I think so. When you were in Cleveland, you beat Brooklyn in back-to-back games. So that makes you 3-0 this year.
Right now.
Do you think your athleticism, your physicality, is that something that you've seen, like you feel like you've been able to impose your will to an extent on them? And is that something that stood out to you at all?
For me, just playing my game, paying attention to the scouting report, seeing who's guarding me and where I need to be on the floor to be most effective. And today was just being the enforcer on both ends of the court.
A lot of contributions across the roster, Andre. Anything that stood out to you from one of your teammates tonight?
I can't pinpoint one guy. I think everybody as a whole did an incredible job today of just being tough, playing against a really good team in Brooklyn with, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and, the rest of those guys over there, and not worrying about who's over there, but playing our game, playing Laker basketball, and coming out with a great win.
I'm here. Andre, David Grenneman, you kept talking about toughness when you're talking to Trudell there. There was a possession where you got the ball on the high post, put it on the floor, bully ball right to the hoop against LaMarcus Aldridge, and then punctuated it by, putting your hand down to suggest that he's small. Was that kind of exemplifying the overall effort of the team tonight? And can you just talk to me about that specific score by you?
It was a good basket. It's a good basket by me. I'm not one to talk down on other players. It was a heat of the moment. That's my signature move that I do when I score on people and get an and one. So nothing towards LaMarcus intentionally. It's just what I do. No matter who's out there, it's happening. You can be taller than me or not. I'm still going to say he's smaller than me.
Dan? Andre, I think it was a 4-point game when Dennis and Kyrie got ejected. Mm-hmm. And then you guys go on some crazy run right after that. Was there anything said in the immediacy after that you think helped kind of trigger that, or what did you see in the way you guys reacted to that to those ejections?
Yeah, I pulled the guys together, after that happened, and I told them, I said, listen, we can't play like this. We can't allow them to get momentum right now. We need to lock in defensively, not worry about offense, because they're going to come out with a full head of steam based off of the last play that just happened. So, we came out, locked in defensively, and the offense took care of itself.
Kyle?
Hey, Andre, how you doing, man?
What's going on, Kyle?
Dennis was saying that even though he didn't finish the game, that this was his favorite win of the year. And I know you've only been here so long, but some of the guys who weren't able to play, LeBron, AD, Kyle, what was some of their reaction to getting this win? And did they say anything to you guys back in the locker room that was memorable?
Yeah, today was a great win for us, just based on, us being underhanded and not having all of our guys playing with guys that, haven't been in most positions that they're in right now. And to come out with a win the way we did against a great team, it's an incredible feeling. Celebrate tonight, but we have another game on Monday we have to worry about and we get to take care of business.
And we have time for one more with Andre. Let's go to Bill Oram.
Hey, Andre. This is obviously talked about often as a potential finals matchup. By then, the rosters will look quite a bit different once guys get healthy. But how much was that part of what you guys were talking about today internally? Was the awareness particularly high that this is a team that, you guys might be seeing that maybe you want to see down the road?
We just focus on what we can take care of right now. The playoffs is a long way away. We have a lot of games in between that to get to the finals. So it's going to take care of what we need to take care of. If it's them we see in the finals or whoever it may be, we're just going to play to the best of our ability and try to come out with wins.
All right, Jerry, thank you for your time.
Hey, the This is exciting. Spring is in the air. This magic moment. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith. I'm Molly Karam-Rowe.
I'm just saying, that's a classic.
What's
Molly
wrong?
and the classic. I wasn't aware that Molly got down with the classics like that. I wasn't aware of that.
For
I wasn't
sure.
aware of that.
Yes,
Okay.
bringing me back. Yes,
Like the look, by the way.
yes.
Like the look. The black is slamming.
Thank
It looks
you.
very, very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Guys, let's get it. We'll get to baseball. Obviously, opening day. That's exciting. Jessica Mendoza will be with us later to help us preview it. But we're going to start with some hoops out there in the wild, wild west. And it just keeps getting wilder, fellas. So now that the NBA trade deadline is come and gone, let's take a look at the standings. The Jazz, who dealt with a major scare on Tuesday. Did you see this? An emergency landing. Thank God everyone is safe. But the players were certainly shook up, followed by the Suns. The Clippers, who recently acquired playoff Rondo, the Lakers, who scooped up Andre Drummond, who dealt with a toe issue last night, toenail, that is. And lastly, the Denver Nuggets. And oh, by the way, Luka, he went off on Boston, putting up 36, 8, and 5, doing all sorts of Luka Doncic things. Stephen A., who's the biggest threat to the Lakers at this point?
I'm incredibly impressed with a lot of things going on in the Western Conference, especially with the Phoenix Suns and obviously the Los Angeles Clippers that come on strong. But my answer to this question is going to be the Utah Jazz, Max Kellerman. They're a top 5 defensive team in the National Basketball Association. They are top 3 offensively. They are top 2 shooting the ball from 3 and number 1 in attempts. And then when you take into account the fact that Rudy Gobert always in line for Defensive Player of the Year because it's his prowess on the defensive end of the floor. You combine that with Royce O'Neal defending you on the perimeter. You've got interior defense. You've got defense on the perimeter. And then on top of it all, you've got 6 different dudes all averaging in double figures. You look at the Utah Jazz, they are incredibly formidable. Make no mistake about it. Obviously, when you think about the Lakers, they're the Goliath, especially with Andre Drummond there. If Anthony Davis and LeBron James comes back, who's going to be able to deal with that front line? The answer would be no one in my estimation. But if there's somebody that has a shot, it's somebody that can play elite defense combined with being able to launch from long range. And the Utah Jazz have shown that they're getting that in droves. And oh, by the way, as far as I'm concerned, they have a leading contender for 6th Man of the Year in Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Their coaching staff is doing an outstanding job led by Quinn Snyder. I'm looking at the Utah Jazz right now as the number 1 threat to the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference.
This is a debate show, so everybody knows I'm about to tell you you're wrong. But before I do, let me say that what they just went through last night.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff. I know I'd be scared as hell.
They thought that was it.
Wow.
You listen to the players, they're talking about, they were talking to each other like, yo, this might be it. This might be the end. They thought they were going to die on that plane. Land the plane. Spider Mitchell doesn't get back on and onto another plane and go to the game. I think I'm with him, actually.
Yes, right.
But these dudes...
He did not.
Did not. These dudes go and play and win.
Yeah.
After something like that, that tells me a lot about their character, actually. The fact that they're able to do it, especially when John Morant's going off the way it was a good game. They're not the biggest threat to the Lakers. They are a threat. They're not the biggest threat, and I'll tell you why. They didn't do anything at the deadline to really make themselves better. You know who did? The Clippers and the Nuggets. And let me tell you something about the Clippers and the Nuggets. I'll start with Denver, and I'm going to go to the Clippers next. Denver and Utah had one of the best opening round series you will ever see in any sport. And when we think about Denver right now, we don't really think about Jamal Murray with Donovan Mitchell and, let's say, Devin Booker, right? He's not quite as good as those guys until it matters most. Then he's every bit as good as those guys. Then he's an all-time great. At least he was last year. They have an MVP caliber player when it comes postseason time in Jamal Murray. We already know Jokic is. We see what Porter Jr. is doing. My God, the way he's shooting the ball, the way he's been scoring. And now you add Aaron Gordon to the mix. See, they didn't just add a little player that doesn't mean anything. They added a big, athletic forward in his prime, who now has to worry about being the 3rd or 4th best player on the team.
So your answer is the Denver Nuggets?
I'm saying that's one. I think Denver has actually come playoff time.
Who is the threat, Max Kellerman? What the hell you giving me? I ain't asking for a list.
The
I need
Los
one
Angeles Clippers.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Clippers are the biggest threat to the Lakers.
Because?
You made the argument the other day. Rondo. I said it would be a marginal improvement, but that marginal improvement can be profound in the playoffs. They went to a game 7 that they were up 3-1 against the Denver team I just told you about. And it took an historically bad game by Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in order for Denver to squeak by. Now they have the floor general on this team. When you look at how deep the Clippers go, they got 11 dudes, 11, who can really play. They have guys not just like, okay, Kawhi and Paul George, not just like Rondo, but Batum and Ibaka and Zubac and Reggie Jackson and 3 or 4 guys I'm not even thinking about right now. They are legitimately 11 deep. Your boy Luke Kennard, I know you didn't love that sham for Kennard. Kennard's shooting almost 50% from
I don't
three.
care. I don't
50.
care. I don't care. You got to shoot more then. You got to shoot more then. I mean, you can't be taking
got 11 dudes.
I'm just saying, if you taking 8 shots a game, right, but you making 50% of your threes, why the hell ain't you shooting more? You got to get him more opportunities. He has to be a factor. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter that he makes threes. I'm saying it only doesn't matter if you don't take enough of them. And that's what he needs to do, especially since you were willing to part ways with Lou Williams. There's no question that in large part that had something to do with Luke Kennard and how comfortable you're feeling with them. Lou Williams, you talk about a perennial 6th man of the year, and you ship him out. It was never the same since Ty Lue became the coach there. Lou Williams' minutes diminished. He didn't seem as aggressive and as involved and as much of a focus offensively for the Clippers. That's because of Luke Kennard. I got to see Luke Kennard jack up some more shots and take over games offensively the way I've seen Lou Williams do in the past before I'm sold on his arrival in Los Angeles with the Clippers.
I know that the Clippers were that close to getting by Denver and giving you the confrontation you wanted to see with the Lakers in the conference
and
finals.
I'm still holding it against them.
And one of the reasons I believe the Lakers won the championship the first year they come together, because usually super teams, it takes like at least a season, was Rondo. Playoff Rondo is real. So they had 2 guys in the regular season, and in the postseason, they had 3 All-Stars and another floor general to go with LeBron James. That dude's on the Clippers now.
Well, you know what a lot of people miss about Rondo, to make your point, to accentuate your point, is this. When they talk about playoff Rondo, people keep thinking, oh, the playoffs arrived, so he steps his game up. It's not that simple. What happens is that it's a best 4 of 7. So now you get to focus on one team. Right. That brilliant savant of a basketball player, Rajon Rondo, if you put him against the same team, best 4 out of 7, he has the ability to figure you out.
It's going to get worse and worse for you.
It's going to get worse and worse.
That's why they say
that's really what it is.
Playoff time is coach's time.
Right.
Plays out of time. Who knows all the plays? Rondo knows. He's a coach on the floor. That is exactly what the Clippers were missing. They got shooting. They have size.
Yeah.
They have every single thing they need. The question is, will Paul George step up? Because Kawhi ain't choking again in Game 7.
But I can point this to you. You remember what you saw from Donovan Mitchell. And that brother has arrived. And when you take into account the fact that you have surrounded him with depth, defense, and perimeter shooting,
it's a whole lot.
Utah. Oh, by the way, come playoff time, you can expect crowds to be there. Maybe not in full capacity that the MLB is talking about doing opening day with the Rangers.